What's up guys, how's it going? In this video, I want to show you how you can protect your squishy backline units from enemy assassins in the early and mid game. So in this example, we're going to be looking at the Shadow Fiend. And the mistake I see a lot of people make is that they'll put their tank, which in this case it's the Tinker, they'll put it like over here or something. But this is wrong because the assassin, it wants to jump as vertically far as possible. So you actually want your Tinker behind the Shadow Fiend. So that the enemy assassin jumps to the Tinker and attacks that instead of the Shadow Fiend. Also important, you want a ranged unit like Tinker instead of something like Anti-Mage, because this ranged Tinker is going to stay here and keep attacking whatever. But if you use the Anti-Mage, it's just going to walk up. And the assassins take a couple seconds before they jump over, so this guy's going to walk up, and then it'll just be the Shadow Fiend like left here to die with all those assassins jumping over. You might also be wondering, okay, maybe this Bounty Hunter is good enough to bait the assassins, but this is not very reliable because it's going to jump around the same time as the enemy assassins. In the situation where you don't have a ranged unit like Tinker to put in the back, I'll show you an example after this to demonstrate what you can do. But first, let's play this video and see how it goes. So the enemy assassins are the Slark and the Sand King, and they jump to the back and end up attacking the Tinker. The Tinker dies pretty fast because there's two assassins, but this gives the Shadow Fiend enough time to ult, which makes it a pretty easy win for the rest of the units to clean up. Most of the time, early game teams are only going to have one assassin. It's like the Queen of Pain or the Bounty Hunter. So if it's just one assassin jumping over, that Tinker would have survived a lot longer. And what likely would have happened is that the Shadow Fiend would have started targeting the assassin as well, along with the Tinker. And so then it's a 2v1 situation, which is really good for you, obviously. Alright, let's look at an example of what I would do if I didn't have a ranged unit to put behind the Shadow Fiend. Over here, I just positioned like this to record this video, so I pretended that this Tinker isn't a ranged unit. For this comp, the previous positioning was actually better, but let's just pretend this is like a Timbersaw or something, and so I'll explain to you why I position like this. So you do not want the Shadow Fiend over here, because if you put it over here, this is the furthest back unit besides this Bounty Hunter, but this Bounty Hunter is going to jump over. So if you put the Shadow Fiend here, this is just making it the target for the enemy assassin. You want the Shadow Fiend up in the front line, and you don't want it like in the middle here, because most people, they'll put their units around here, so then you don't want your Shadow Fiend taking all that damage from the front line. Now we also don't want the Shadow Fiend all the way to the side over here where I put the Tinker. And the reason is because if you put the Shadow Fiend over here, the enemy assassins wants to move to the leftmost or the rightmost unit to attack. So the enemy assassin wants to move here or here. So if you put the Shadow Fiend over here, it's 50-50 whether or not it's going to get attacked if the enemy assassin, if the enemy team has an assassin that jumps over. Anyways, let's take a look at this video and see how it plays out. We got a Bounty Hunter here, and as expected, it goes to one of the two sides. So in this situation, it was the Tinker, and the Tinker takes enough damage so that the Shadow Fiend can survive a little bit longer. Unfortunately, in this situation, we still lost, but the front line is actually the correct place to put the Shadow Fiend in this situation. You might also ask, so why don't I just use the corner strategy, right? But in this situation, and in a lot of situations in the early mid-game, the corner strategy is not that good because most of the strong units are the melee units, and if you're putting it in the corner, well, these melee units are going to have to walk a bunch before they start attacking, and meanwhile, the enemy range units are just going to be doing damage to you. If you want to learn more about how assassins move, you should check out my assassins video, which I made a couple weeks ago, which tells you basically the rules that they follow. I made this before the patch where the assassins wait 2 seconds before jumping over, but all the other information is still relevant. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope it was helpful, and I'll catch you in tomorrow's video.